I'm starting to really like fermented foods, and the lovely lady Camargin has discovered a health benefit of a special type of bacteria we can get in fermented food. Really good if you're lactose intolerant, like she is, and we're going to try growing it specifically in a type of kimchi. And we're going to call this particular one the Lady Camargin's Kimchi. And in some ways it's similar. We've got a head of our wombok cabbage here, a daikon radish, chilies, garlic, ginger. But the difference is we have soybean paste, fermented soybean paste, and fish sauce. It's this particular one that is meant to give us the bacteria we're after, which is Bacterium subtilis. If you want to look it up, I'll put the description in the comments down below, but it's one that is particularly good for people with quite dramatic gut problems like lactose intolerance. So here we go. We're going to use our normal 2% salt minus a little bit because the fish sauce is very salty and I expect the soybean paste is also very salty. First thing we do, let's get that out of the way, is we're going to just chop our cabbage up. Right, so cut the end off. Compost that. Take a couple of the outer leaves off that are just too wilted. Just that will do. We're going to chop it up relatively finely and then give it a quick rinse. So we're just weighing the cabbage. We'll take that back out and chop it in a sec. Get our radish, just chop the very ends off. And we've got 1.6 kilos of cabbage and daikon. So, don't say so. So by the time we peel that, I'll just reduce it down a little bit because of the salt in the fish sauce. 2% by weight will be 32 grams of salt, won't it? Let's peel our daikon. That'll go through our mincer. And now for the tedious bit, we have to peel our ginger. So for one cabbage, we want it fairly gingery. Next we need our garlic. We're going to use an entire bulb because garlic is really, really healthy, good for you, and tastes wonderful in this. This is just a cheap Chinese garlic. We didn't have any of ours grown yet. So we just separate out the bulbs, the cloves, chop the ends off. Smells garlicky. Then all we need to do is go bang, and our garlic just slides out. And finally, all we're going to do is make our daikon able to fit in our food processor.
You need to chop the chilies?
Yep. These are not overly strong chilies. Just went and picked them from the garden. So we've got our ingredients ready to go into the food processor. Daikon radish, garlic, chili, ginger for one head of wombok cabbage. So let's go and pop this in the food processor. Lots of things cooking here. We've got a kombucha and we've got a yogurt. Now we're going to use our blade here to chop up our garlic and ginger and chili. I'm not going to use that just yet. Where's our lid? There. Oh, in he goes. Now we'll take that out. We put our potent. Now we shred our daikon. Back over we go, and we're going to do the magic bit. So we get our chilli, garlic, ginger, radish mix out. Smells nice and refreshing. Now the recipe I've looked up varies a lot. Some of it said we need a quarter a cup of fish sauce, which is a huge amount of fish sauce. So I'm not going to do that. As I said, quarter of a cup of this is going to be deadly. So I'm not going to do quarter of a cup. I'm going to do roughly an eighth of a cup. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. So it's not full quarter cup, just under for that daikon mix. Next we get our soybean paste, #1 seller in Korea, so it must be good. Yeah. And it says we need a couple of tablespoons of this. That's about 1 tablespoon. There we go. Now, I've never tasted this stuff on its own. It's not unpleasant on its own, but it's not something you want to eat a spoonful of. We'll try. Just a little bit.
Tastes like soy.
Yeah. Tastes a bit like soy sauce, doesn't it?
Mm.
So there's that. We need to measure out, what I say, what, 32 grams of salt? Oh, it's 37. Take a little bit of that out. That's good. And we get our other bowl now. We'll mix that through thoroughly in a minute. And we sprinkle our 32 grams of salt over the cabbage. Now this has to sit for 20 minutes, half an hour. We'll stir it through a bit. And that's to get the moisture out of the cabbage. And just push it down. We'll come back and we'll stir that a few times. Now we'll come back to this. We better incorporate our soybean paste. All right, I'll finish mixing this through, and as you see, we'll get quite a bit of moisture coming out from the daikon as well. We'll then combine these two and put it in our fermenter for about a week, I think. We'll taste as we go along, see how robust it's getting, but about a week. Right, if you've tried anything like this, let me know how you got on and what it tasted like, and was it a failure? We'll be back in 20. So we've left about 20 minutes or so. We haven't got a huge amount of brine out of the cabbage yet, but that doesn't matter because we've got a lot from what I term our spice mix. So we've got to get this incorporated all through here. It does smell good, actually. Our specialist kimchi smackaroo. We're just going to stir it through, then we'll leave it for another 10 to 15 minutes before we pack it into our fermenter. Just to try and get a little bit more liquid out of that cabbage. Same as the other kimchi, we don't want to add any water to this if we can help it, because that will upset our salt balance. But we should be able to draw enough out of the cabbage to brine it up. Nice clean jar. Start popping it in, and I don't think we need our funnel. I must admit, the aroma of this is actually really, really nice. As usual, we've got to make sure we've got as little air in there as possible, so we use our highly priced specialist stick to push it down. We'll wipe the outside of the jar down when we're done. But let's just squash this down. Now, as I said, I don't want to add any more water to this if I can avoid it. So what we're going to do is just leave that tonight and see how much liquid we get building up in it. Because I'm expecting a lot more will actually come out in the next hour or two. Let's get our stones in there. Oh no, we won't need to, look at that. Watch what happens when I push down. There's plenty of liquid in there. That's good. So we just keep it like that. We make sure that everything is under the brine. Pop our cap on. Put some water in our airlock. And that's it. We come back in a week and we see if it's edible or not. Hopefully it will be, because at this point it smells really, really good. So once it's fermented, I think it's going to be really nice, and then we'll make a bigger batch. If you tried this, let me know in the comments. If you got any improvements on the recipe, let me know in the comments as well. You guys enjoy. Welcome back. We put the Lady Camargin kimchi in about 6 days ago, I think from memory. And it's got to the point where it tastes nice and it's ready to put in a more permanent jar. So let's open it up. And as you can see, it's gotten a totally different colour to our normal kimchi. The aroma is not strong, but it's quite interesting and it's very, very different. So let's get our stone out. Now we're not going to waste the bits that are on there. Let's have a taste. Small taste. Ooh. It's quite different to the one I normally do. It's got a depth of flavour that the other hasn't. Even though it's got fish sauce in it, there's no real taste of fish. Certainly no taste of fish. I think the soybean is coming through like a soy sauce type taste. And hopefully we've got the right amount of chilli in there. But overall, it seems to be tasting pretty good. So let's fill our jar up. We're going to use one of these silicone caps on it, so that will relieve any pressure that builds up for further fermenting, but it will be in the fridge, so it shouldn't be fermenting much at all. Let's get it out. Yes, very different colour. Pretty sure that's from the soybean. Any of that drops on the table, I'm going to eat. Right. Pour all that in, because we still need it fully submerged. So we'll just press it down, making sure we get all the bubbles out. And because it's in the fridge, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit out. It'll be sealed up nice and airtight. We'll give the jar a rinse off, and here we have it. Lady Camargin kimchi. Has the soybean paste and fish sauce, not a lot different otherwise. We fermented it for slightly less than I do for my kimchi because Lady Camargin doesn't like it that strong. I do. But there we go, full of these really healthy probiotics, particularly that one I mentioned earlier that I can't remember, Stellinos, that is exceptionally good for gut health. Really important. And tasty. Good for you, tasty. That's a rarity, isn't it? Anyway, you guys enjoy life. Remember, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. I'm going to eat kimchi, and we'll catch you in the garden. That is good. The more you have, the better it tastes. See ya.